The Unstoppable Singer is a live interview style show where we dive into the lives of real professional singers who've achieved incredible feats in their careers. We explore the challenges and triumphs that come with a life under the bright lights, and we learn what being unstoppable truly means to them. So, if you're passionate about music and the stories of remarkable artists, then you're in the right place. So, stick around because I'm about to introduce our very special guest tonight. It is Danielle Tucker.
Hello.
Danielle, let me go ahead and give your intro here. Danielle is a professional singer-songwriter with 25 years of experience singing country, rock, pop, gospel, and jazz. She's performed with celebrated artists like Chris Young, Jamie Johnson, Josh Grayson, Jamie O'Neill, Phil Vassar, James Otto, and Juice Newton. She currently works as a solo performer, studio artist, vocal coach, and career advisor, and she's the lead vocalist for the award-winning San Diego-based band, the Mighty Untouchables. Welcome to the Unstoppable Singer, Danielle.
Thank you. This is
Fancy
awesome.
seeing you here.
Yeah, this is great. I'm so excited we're doing this. And everybody give it up for Iris Duncan. I have to introduce you too, because most people don't know Iris Duncan because she is so stealth behind the scenes of everything. But Iris is the Unstoppable Singer project manager, and pretty much everything behind the scenes she touches turns to gold. And so she is like my right hand woman and could not do anything without her. So thanks for being here, and thanks for having me on, Iris.
Absolutely. And it's great to see you in the hot seat for once.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, we know you as Danielle Tucker and all of the things we just talked about, but I'd love if you could take us back to the very beginning of your career. How did you get started as a singer?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have definitely been singing since I was a young kid. I think I always had an affinity for performing for my family, and my mom loved it. And so my older brother and I, whenever we'd have friends and family over, she was always encouraging us to, put on our little performances. And so we would costume up most of the time in like Michael Jackson gear and everything and put on our little shows. And he eventually grew out of it, but I never did. And as a young kid, I started getting involved in these school talent shows, the pageant world. I was not interested in the modeling aspects of it, but I just wanted to be involved in the talent aspects of it. I was always really the one initiating, asking, my parents if I could take voice lessons, if I could be a part of this or that. And they definitely, always, humored me and would take me where I asked to go. And then as I got a little bit older, maybe in my preteens, teens years, I started singing in church. And I started in church choir, and I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. And eventually they started letting me sing solos in church. And I think my love for, public performance just grew and grew. I took every performance opportunity that was available to me. And a lot of that looked like church singing, talent shows, competitions. But I think my first big event that really gave me some confidence or belief that I could really do something with this, and I think it gave my parents the confidence and belief, was when I auditioned for Ed McMahon's Star Search and got on the show. So we went to Orlando, Florida, to Universal Studios and taped the Ed McMahon Star Search show, and that was kind of the beginnings of my career.
That's amazing too, just having, you said your parents like supported you through that. Did you have to convince them, or was it like they already knew you had this in you?
You know what? My parents were busy people. They kind of led very active lives of their own. And so I would not have classified them or identified them at all as being stage parents or anything. It's just, I think they just really wanted me and my brothers to find those things that we love to do. And they just were willing to go along with it and encourage it. I'm not so sure that they really saw any significant talent in me as a kid. It really was, I think once I had grown as a singer in the church and then gotten involved in the TV show, that they once they saw some external affirmation of that, other than just the biased parents feeling, then they started to think like, oh, this could be something serious.
Huh. And so then you get on the show. How do you get from there to the Mighty Untouchables? Like,
Yeah.
how do we get to that bridge?
That's a good question. So, shortly after we taped that show, my parents divorced. So, we moved from the East Coast back to San Diego, where
Mm,
um, most of my family was from originally. My parents were from there originally. So, we kind of came back and settled here. By that time, I was in junior high and I started getting involved with school choir, and then I was introduced to a local church that was just down the road from me. A friend had introduced me, and it was close enough for me to walk to from my
mm,
house. So one Sunday morning, she'd invited me to church, and I walked over there and met her. And this was my first exposure to a contemporary Christian church and what the music format was of something like that. Up until then, I had been in this Southern Baptist church, which was very traditional, very,
mm.
we sang from hymnals.
Yeah.
It's Back then we were starting to get a little spicy with like some contemporary Christian music at church, but it was still a little risque. You were really pushing the envelope with that stuff. But
Mm,
but my first exposure to that format of music was at this church. And I walk in this Sunday morning, and it's this big congregation in an elementary school
mm,
gymnasium.
mm,
And on the stage was this band that was just unbelievable. All professional
mm,
musicians, all professional singers, professional sound system, lights,
mm.
everything. And I just was stunned, by what I was seeing. And, I was just instantly hooked by that and just thought, wow, I would love to do something like that. So I continued coming back every week. I eventually, learned who the worship pastor was, and I introduced
Yeah.
myself. And I'm pretty sure I started kind of hounding him, dropping a lot of hints that I wanted to be involved. I was too young though.
Mm,
I don't think they allowed people to be in the choir until they were 18 years old, and at this time
mm.
I'm like, maybe 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So he started giving me some other roles, like working with children's music and
Of course.
a few things like that. But eventually he caved, and he did let me join the
Huh.
worship choir when I was, I think, 16 years old. And then, once he got more familiar with me and my singing, he started letting me do some feature solo singing. So that was really the beginning of a long history of being, with this church, which eventually grew to be a very large church. But I stayed
Mm,
with them for a long time. I had dabbled with college after school. I didn't really
mm,
know what I was going to do for sure. I knew I wanted to sing, but I hadn't really gotten too serious about that. I did start working in some cover bands just to make money and kind of have
right.
that, outlet to perform in public. I got my first real professional job singing in a cover band that did a circuit on the East Coast from Ocean City, Maryland, down to Miami, Florida.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so we would this band. I joined them when I was 17 or 18 years
Oh
old,
my
right after
goodness.
yeah, right after I had graduated. And
Wow.
it was my first like real venture away from
Mm,
home too. And so I joined this band, and for about 6 months straight, we would perform every single day at a resort, and at night we would perform in their
wow.
nightclub. And I was so green, when I showed up there, they really had kind of hired me sight unseen. But in a very short amount of time, I got uh, so much experience. They taught me so much every single night.
Mm,
I got a rundown of what I needed to improve, what I'd done well, what I had not done well, and I had to get up to speed so fast, and I had no other life outside of the band. I had no friends out there. I
Wow.
had no
Mm,
family, nothing to distract me. So anytime I wasn't on stage, I was in my hotel room, practicing, working on
mm,
attire, working on, this or that. And so, those 6 months just, shaped me so much. Um, I left the band after 6 months and came home and just kind of floundered for a while.
mm.
And eventually, after a brief stint at Azusa Pacific University, where I'd gone as a music major,
Mm.
I began working for an entertainment attorney in LA, and they introduced me to a phenomenal vocal coach out there. And he eventually introduced me to a man named Kurt Howell, who produced my first country EP. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I wanted to pursue being an original country artist.
Mm.
And simultaneously, I'm still living in San Diego. I'm still working in this amazing church band.
Yeah.
Um, and I was very heavily involved with that group. And so as I was promoting this country EP, the guys in the church band had decided they wanted to form a corporate show band. They had all had experience in that, and they kind of were looking to form their, you know, kind of dream project.
Mm.
So, we were working at the church. They were acting as the band to promote my country EP too, all the while.
Yeah.
And so, from that, the Mighty Untouchables was born,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah,
That's
so
such an organic like transition.
it
Mm.
has been, the most like full circle journey ever. But yeah, we
Wow.
started the band in 2009, and we're still together today and absolutely stronger than ever.
Wow. I love thank you for sharing your story because there are
Mhm.
bits there that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I think there's this idea with many industries, but I think especially in entertainment, where you have to hit certain markers or do certain things in order to succeed, right? And I think, for example, going to college. And there's nothing wrong with going to college, but just hearing that, you did go, you tried and everything like that, but really your experience and kind of knowledge came from, I would say, those 6 months of, being right out of high school, jumping into that band on the East Coast, working every single day. You learn so much there on the road doing the work than actually sitting in a classroom.
Yeah, absolutely on the job training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, so important. And I really don't think that there's any correct pathway into the business. Um, I think really the key to it is just picking a lane and getting some consistency with it. I think
Mm.
it's committing to a pathway, but also keeping an eye open at all times for those other little things that pop up, those other little seeds, those other little opportunities, and
Mm.
just keeping an open mind and taking, when you're new in this and you don't, you're not really making any money, you're not, you don't have a ton of traction. Um, you've got to take everything that's available to you, especially, if you're young and you
Right.
don't have a family and you don't have all of these life commitments. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
great time in life just to take everything that comes your way, because you never know what is going to become of, any one little opportunity, and really treating every opportunity with a great deal of care, because I can't tell you how many people I know now, 25, 30 years later, who I met way back then doing a little side gig or a little show, who are significant people in my life now, and I look back and I'm glad that I treated, my experience with them with a lot of care, and gave them my best, because just so many things transpire from that. No opportunities too little for you or too big for you when you're just starting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's this idea, right, that as you get experience or get older, we start to see our failures not as failures, but kind of as battle scars from experiences that we learned from that we might have thought were failures at the time.
Mm-hmm.
What's a lesson that you've learned from an experience you've had that maybe hurt at the time, but now you realize you've learned a lot from?
Oh God. There's too many to count, to be honest, But
A lot of battle wounds.
yeah, one of the big ones is, as I mentioned, I had really wanted to pursue being an original country artist. And I'd gone as far as going all the way out to Nashville to record. And, that project was supposed to be shopped. And in my mind, I'd poured so much into it, so much expectation, and I had worked so hard to promote it and really gave it everything I had. And I had this vision in my mind of what the outcome of that was going to be. In my mind, it meant I would get a recording contract. I
Yeah.
would, I would go on tour. I would have my own band. I would be, writing my own songs and recording album after album. That was the picture. That was the vision that I had. And it was not long after having the recording done, and I'm back in San Diego promoting it and everything, and and it's being circulated in Nashville. It wasn't long before it became apparent that it wasn't going to go anywhere. It just by what the market was looking for, it just wasn't my time. It wasn't what the market needed or wanted at the time. And that really, it hurt me a lot. And it really at the time made me question, why did I do all that? Why did I put myself out there? Why did I, invest in the project? Why did I invest all the time and energy? And, at the time it really stung. And I was so fortunate that the just having the momentum of promoting the EP,
Mm-hmm.
little did I really notice at the time was that it may not have sparked my original country career, but the quality of the band and the quality of the music that I was working with was so good that people just loved the band. And then from there, we started getting booked to do these like corporate events. We started getting booked to do these, concert. We were opening for, national touring acts that were coming through our local area. And it got so much traction, and it stayed strong, for a long time. And that was also, part of the springboard for the Mighty Untouchables as well. And I think it really wasn't until a few years down the road that I realized that it was okay for me to change the vision. I had done the right thing by putting in the work. I had done the right thing by being consistent and being creative and pouring my heart and soul into it. But
Yeah.
I think at some point we just have to be okay with what is, because truly I don't look at that point in my life now as having been a failure, because I didn't get a recording deal, or that it didn't go this way, because I look at the career that I have now and the way things turned out now. I work in a, channel of the industry that is probably one of the most lucrative that the industry has to offer to musicians. And I think, wow, I could be famous now recording albums and maybe not even have the amount of income that I make now, because it may be very glamorous, for some of these touring artists, but a lot of them aren't making a lot of money or anything. And
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
what I get out of the band that I'm in now and just the career that I built, I love it. And I would not change it for anything at all.
You heard it from Danielle here. You can change the vision. Like that's needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yes, you can change the vision.
You can change the vision. So you just released a brand new website. And on it, you're giving away a freebie. And we talked about learning from our experiences. Well, there's a freebie you can grab right now, and it's called 100 Ways to Get Paid as a Singer.
Mhm.
And having just kind of walked through your experience, can you share any of those options that you personally have done?
Sure. Yeah, I put together that list because, and I know we'll get into this more, but as I've grown as a vocal coach and mentor, it is absolutely crucial for anybody working in this industry that they develop multiple streams of income. You really
Mm-hmm.
cannot just put your eggs all in one basket if you want to build a sustainable career. So honing in on two, three, maybe four things that you're
Mm-hmm.
very good at and that you can make money at is a winning combination for sure. So, you're going to find 100 different things on this list, which isn't even the complete, list
Right.
of things that really are truly available to us. But through my journey as a singer, I have worked as a, lead singer in a band. I've been a backup singer. I've been a
Mm-hmm.
solo artist. I've been a church singer. I've done session work in studio and from home. Um, oh my gosh, I have been commissioned to, write and record a song.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I've worked as a vocal coach, obviously.
Yes.
There are, man, there are so
So
many
many.
things on that list that I've done, and I'm so glad that I, developed that that ability to have like skills in multiple areas because it's really, really served me well. There's definitely one primary area for me, and that's,
Mm-hmm.
live performance and everything, but still those other things still, support me and, give me a lot of security to know that if one thing falls through, I'll have another.
Always.
Yeah.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about the new brand, The Unstoppable Singer, and also the journey to getting here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when 2020 COVID hit,
Mm.
of course, the Mighty Untouchables were just going strong. It should have been an absolute record year for us. And everything just came to a very abrupt halt.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me a needed break, which I actually kind of appreciated. But
Yeah.
just being the busybody that I am, it wasn't long until I got bored and, itchy. And I had to do something creative. And so I just had this idea spark. And I'm sure it came from having seeing other people live streaming on the internet. And I thought, oh,
Mm.
well, it might be cool to do like some interviews just with my local friends who are singers and, colleagues and everything, just to get together and chat, support one another, see how they're managing life, how they're getting by, what ideas they have, and
Yeah.
just to kind of, it was really for support and connection. It was the only
Mm.
way we could connect.
Right.
So I started it. I started doing it weekly and just stayed very consistent with it. And I don't know how popular it became, but it felt good to me and it felt like the
Mm.
right thing to be doing. And I was getting enough feedback that told me, well, it's impacting somebody. And it really started opening my eyes to so many solutions that singers in my boat, really had at their fingertips, like learning to record from home, learning other aspects of the business like sync licensing,
Mm.
and a number of other areas where you could make money and survive, if you couldn't be in the live performance space at that time. And so I am I'm a curator. I'm a person who
Mm.
just loves to absorb information
Mm-hmm.
and catalog it. It
Yeah.
stays with me forever. And so it was my natural inclination to come up with this idea to put together this virtual summit. And I thought, well, why not pool all of these resources together
Mm-hmm.
of all these different people in the business who are experts in all these given areas and invite all the singers, to show up, get educated, lay all the cards on the table and
Yeah.
see what really is available to them. So I um, I hosted the Pandemic Proof Singer Summit number one, in that we had 30 speakers. We had a couple thousand singers that
Mm.
that
Wow.
registered for the event. And it was a big success. And it felt so good. It felt so
Mhm.
good. The feedback was amazing. And so I went on to do the next 4 years. I did an annual summit every year. We just finished our fourth one
Yeah.
last month. And it was bigger and better than ever. The live stream has continued all 4 of these years, and then last
Mhm.
year we turned it into a podcast as well. So I had all these wonderful things happening as a singer, a vocal coach, and mentor that were so like cyclical, working to support one another. The live stream podcasts, the summits, the in-person and online coaching, in my own personal performance experience, that um, it inspired me to pull all those things under one umbrella as the unstoppable singer. And
Mm.
so that's how, this brand was born. And that's how just the messaging and the mission behind the brand developed. And so it's not just technical vocal coaching anymore, but
Right.
rather a really holistic approach to the business, shaping you as, a great singer, working on your craft, but also giving you the resources and the know-how to use something with that craft and, make a
Yeah.
living out of it.
Amazing. You mentioned on the site busting the big break myth. What does that mean?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because going back to the question you asked about, my failures, and I think I was of the mindset that a lot of singers are. When you're young, we see this very mainstream image of what it means to make
Hmm.
it as a performer in this business. And that means having record deals, going on tour, being a major influencer on social media, and,
Hmm.
having that fame, and um, getting that big break, getting that one viral video, that just explodes your life.
Hmm.
And either that, or you're just a starving artist. You just pour everything into your craft, and you don't sell out. You're all about the creativity. And little do people understand that there's a lot of things in between those
Mm.
two items on the spectrum. You know, there's not just one or the other. There's a whole industry that lives and thrives every day, that supports the lives of thousands and thousands of singers,
Mm.
and many of which are making wonderful living.
Yeah.
And everything that I do with the Unstoppable Singer on this show, the summit, in my own private practice, is to really heighten the awareness of that to singers, that whatever degree you want to take this to, whether you want to remain a hobbyist your entire life just for the pure joy of singing, or if you want to, keep your day job, but also, make a little
Yeah.
something on the side while you're being creative, and also, pursuing your dreams of singing for the love of it, or if you want to be a full time, serious professional singer, all of which are great.
Hmm.
Um, there is a pathway for you to do that, and there is just, there's this whole world that most people don't see in the mainstream, that I really need singers to know that.
I love that.
Mhm.
What is something about the music industry, or just in general, this career path, although there are many, right, that people get wrong? Maybe it's false expectations that they might have.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is thinking that things are going to happen quickly, or things are going to
Mm.
happen overnight. Of course, in this day and age with social media, we do see those unicorns, or we see those, like, very rare occurrences of somebody. We see this. We see them get a
Mm.
viral video, and we think they're an overnight sensation.
Right.
But the reality is, I
Mm.
guarantee you, 99.9% of creators online, on TV, recording artists, you name it.
Mhm.
There is so much more that went into the effort before you ever saw that viral video break. You know,
Mm.
these people are creating total crap every day, terrible
Mm.
videos, terrible songs, you know, and but they're consistent.
Mm.
They're doing the work. They're putting in the effort. We'll never see that. We'll
Mhm.
never see that show up on, TikTok or Instagram or anything, but I guarantee you it happened. And not everybody's going to have that viral break, but I think that is the biggest, misconception is that okay, I'll try something, for a little while, make a few videos, I'll write a couple songs. But then to like immediately get discouraged when after writing your third song, you
Right.
don't get a placement, or after making your third self tape at home and post it on TikTok and you only have like 100 views on it or whatever, that it's not right for you. I think you got to pick something that you love doing, that feels good and natural to you, that you feel energized and inspired to do, and just stick with it for a while.
Mm.
Just let it get a little bit of traction. And again, keeping your eyes open, stay on that pathway, keep consistent, but keeping your eyes open for other little things that are popping up, that may be other opportunities, because, everything, one thing leads to another, to another, to another, and just being patient, giving yourself
Mm.
time, and knowing that this is not something that happens overnight, but just really giving it that time, that space to evolve, and also making sure that you are enjoying the journey of it, because
Mm.
before you know it, you're going to find yourself 25 years down the road like I have, and look back and think,
Yeah.
God, that went so fast. It went
Mm.
so fast. But and I look back and I wish there's so many things I wish I just had appreciated more, in the moment,
Mm.
really
Yeah.
savored them.
Yeah, I think I love what you said, just not discounting all the steps along the way, because you can learn so much from them. And we've seen that a lot also with some of your guests, many of your guests actually, who look back and talk about how they, got to where they are today.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's not an experience, if it's not a particular person they worked with, it might be a certain song they wrote or a certain video, something that ends up
Mhm.
leading to, eventually where they end up where they end up being today, right?
Yeah,
And so I think that's so beautiful and important to keep in mind.
it really
You've
is.
you've talked before about the idea of like the unstoppable singer, and where kind of vocal coaching meets career mentorship. Can you explain that to me a little bit more?
Sure. Well, it's, the world of vocal training has changed and evolved so quickly. Like I would say maybe in the past 10 years, where it was very easy to find a local voice teacher who was, teaching um, from a classical pedagogy or from, the musical theater world, and that's just kind of what was available to you. There you
Mhm.
didn't it wasn't as common to come by contemporary, vocal coaches, commercial style vocal coaches and everything, but we see so much more of that. It's everywhere now. And along with that, I think that many private instructors and many instructors in the academic world are realizing um, it is a wonderful, valuable thing to work on the craft constantly. But if we don't teach singers and musicians to go out into the real world
Mm.
and learn the soft and hard skills as being a professional, we're not doing any service to them. I can tell you, I went to music school and I was not taught how to be a professional musician. I learned
Right.
so much about singing and music, but
Mhm.
no guidance on what to do in the business. I needed that from the mentors in my life. I needed that from the other
Mm.
musicians in my life who were more experienced, more seasoned than me. And so I myself 100% embrace that in my coaching style. I don't want a singer to just come to me just to learn to sing. I need to
Mm,
know that they want to do something with it. I don't care what it is they want to do with it, whether it's they want to be a great karaoke singer, or they just want to like blow their family away at family parties, or if they want to be on the Grammy stage someday. I don't care what that is, but they need to be able to like visualize that pathway and know that that is possible for them, because otherwise, what's really going to drive you? What's going to
mhm,
drive you to stay with that? And so anyways, I just, to me, it's really my belief that, the coaching, the technical coaching, and the, business mentorship, they go hand in hand. I can't see
mm.
myself working with singers, one without the other.
Hmm. That's so great. And they get that working with you. So if somebody does want to work with you, a singer who's either starting out or has been doing this for some time, where's the best place to start?
Sure. Well, I mean, I would love it if everyone would check out my new website, which is theunstoppablesinger.com. And I have a private practice here in San Diego, where I see singers in person here at my home studio, but I also do online. And if you go to the unstoppable singer.com, you're also going to see all of the other offerings that I have as far as like digital courses. You can buy past summits to, experience the summit again, all like highly educational things. And, you can set an appointment to do a consultation on private coaching with me as well. This summer, I'm offering something super special that I have never ever done before. I decided for the summer, I want to pick 5 singers who want to like accelerate their goals like crazy over the summer, who have the time to do some private coaching with me, who have the time to do some homework. And it's a 4-week program that happens between the month of June and July. And it includes 4 actual, hour-long sessions with me. And then there's a lot of behind the scenes support, a lot of steps taken on your own. But I'm always going to be there in the background, supporting you with the efforts and everything. And this package also includes all the digital offerings I have, the courses and the summits. So this is like, God, I couldn't even tell you how many hours of content this is, and
Mm.
what a like fire hose of information that it would be. But it's going to be a really, in-depth 4 weeks that can really kind of catapult you into the fall, once summer's over and life gets back
Yep.
into a normal speed. So yeah, that's the 4-week summer transformation program that I'm offering. That's a really great place to start if you really want to get going. But the best place to go is either there or just to the unstoppable singer.com.
Amazing. And we just put the links in the chat as well.
Yeah,
So you can see
great.
those there as a comment.
Mhm.
Now, I have a few questions, and I call this the hot seat portion. Danielle does not know these questions at all. These are just a little trick up my sleeve. And I think as a performer who sometimes has to improvise, I wanted to tap into that skill set really quick. So I have a few questions I'm going to ask, and you have like 3 seconds to answer each one.
Oh God. Okay.
There's no timer. So take that for what it's worth. But the first question is, have you, and you have to be honest. That's the whole goal of this. You have to be honest.
Okay.
So no lying. Have you ever messed up the words to the national anthem live?
Oh my God. Yes. I'm traumatized for life from that. Yes.
Okay, which line?
I don't even know, but it probably was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. And so anytime now that I'm asked to sing the national anthem, it it chills me to the core.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. You are the, as you mentioned before, lead vocalist for the award-winning San Diego-based band, the Mighty Untouchables. What is a highly requested song that is your least favorite to sing?
Oh gosh. Oh my God.
And you have to be honest here.
Okay, it's not a song that I sing the lead on. There's 2 other male lead singers in the band, but Wagon Wheel is one Darius Rucker that
Mhm.
is asked for all the time, and it's grown on me, but I just historically never really liked it. And if you ever ask our band to play like Brick House or play that funky music or
Mm.
Sweet Home Alabama or something like
Mm.
that, just know that we're dying a slow death
You're
inside.
deep inside. Have you ever met a musical hero of yours?
Oh, wow. Um, oh my gosh. I'm gonna totally blank on names here, but so many of my musical heroes are like real life regular professional
Mm.
singers, not really, iconic recording artists.
Mhm.
These are just people that, throughout my life, I went to this amazing church for all of these years and they were bringing in
Mhm.
these just phenomenal vocalists. And I've just always had this like front row
Mm.
seat to them to see them. And then, eventually throughout my career, really got to interact with them and work with them at times. And so definitely on that level, I did. Um, there was a show I was part of called Candles by Carolite, Carols by Candlelight,
Mm.
and there was a country artist who I absolutely love, but I'm totally blanking on her name right now.
Mm.
Anyway, we can come back to that one.
Here you go. And then this is the last question, and you have to be honest. So you have daughters. You need to be honest. Are they fans or critics?
You know what? My daughters are super fans. I don't know what it is about them, but they really like me for some
That's
reason.
so great.
Yeah. They uh oh no, it's not Amy Womack. It's uh, There Is No Arizona. That's the name. Someone commented on
Mm.
who that could artist could have been. But yeah, my daughters, they love coming to shows and everything. They're really great singers and performers
Oh,
themselves, but
that's beautiful.
they want no direction from me whatsoever. They have no interest in me telling them anything at all. Oh
Mm-mm.
yeah, Jamie O'Neill. Jamie
There we
O'Neill. That's
go.
too. I love
Amazing.
that.
I love that story of your daughters. I think I ask that because I find it can be either or. I have two young
Right.
girls myself, and sometimes they're like my biggest fans in anything I do, and other times they're like, oh, okay, like no big deal.
Right. Maybe there might be a little bit of both of that, but they seem to like me.
That's so great. All right, so as we draw to a close, you ask this question to every guest that you have on the show, and I wanted to just direct it right back to you. What does being unstoppable mean to you? What makes Danielle Tucker unstoppable?
Mhm. Um, you know what? I think for me, what makes me unstoppable is that I do have a very natural drive inside of me that, when I wake up in the morning, I'm inspired and I want to act on that. And I have been defeated and failed more
Mm.
times than you could possibly imagine. I've dealt with rejection, embarrassment, shame, I
Mm.
have come up, I've had so many ideas, I've put so many ideas in motion and everything that have just been utter, bombs. Um, but I just kind of have this belief inside of me that I just have to keep going. It just
Mm.
something will get traction at some point, and that, failure to me is just not an option. There is no end to this journey. There really is there's no peak, I guess, or stopping point. Like retirement is not in my vocabulary.
Mm.
My where I'm at as a professional at any given time may change in the future, but I'll never stop singing. I'll never stop being active in the business. I just think it's just for me, it's this continuum of trial and error and but
Mm.
enjoying what it is that I'm doing, and just knowing that, my mom's dad has passed on this belief to all of us that, that there's a solution to every problem, or
Mm,
some people say that it's everything's figure outable, right?
right.
And I really believe that. I really do believe
Mm,
that. And, I think that's just that part of the journey, that feeling just kind of constantly keeps me pushing forward and making me
mm.
seemingly unstoppable.
That's so great. That's so great. So, on the note of kind of moving forward, what's next? What's next for Danielle Tucker and the Unstoppable Singer? What can we see in the future?
Great. Well, this week is the launch of the new brand, the Unstoppable Singer. So there's all kinds of cool stuff that I'm, putting out into the world through my email list and on social media. Just really kind of introducing this, house of, cool stuff for singers. So I'm really actively working on getting that out. We'll definitely have another summit this year. And behind the scenes, there's a lot of exciting things going on with that. And this may be a big transitional year for that. It may look a little bit different this year. So I'm really excited to see how that progresses. But, you know, I just think you and I will continue to work behind the scenes just
Yeah.
to, keep growing this, growing the podcast, growing the live stream, making the summit bigger and better every single year. Um, and I can't wait to see, the singers that come through my door this year. I'm always excited, to see who is out there. But I am always just totally on fire to
Mm,
keep pushing this thing forward. And I'll continue to live by that, belief that I have of like staying on the path, but always keeping my eyes open from left to right, because you just never know. You never know what one thing will lead to another, to another, to another. And so I think this time next year, if we stop back here again, big things will have happened.
yay! And we're bringing everybody along with the journey. So
Yes. Yes.
awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, for being in the hot seat this time, and
Thank
you can
you.
see us again next week at the exact same time, same place. See you then.
Thank you. Thanks, Iris.
Bye.